This one's coming from Best of Redditor Updates. Girlfriend and friends pulled a prank in my house that I'm really not happy with. How do I react? Background. Both mid-20s. I live in a townhouse. My girlfriend and I have a mutual friend who is going to be out of town for work for quite a while, and she had been begging to go out for breakfast with them the entire week. I was opposed because they wanted to go at 6:30 a.m., and I typically work late into the night. I offered 4 different days we could get dinner, and the mutual friend declined. After continued begging, I gave in to my girlfriend because it seemed like it meant a lot to her to see our mutual friend and his significant other at breakfast. So I wake up at 6:15 to knocking on my front door and open it to see an 8-foot tall tower of red Solo cups filled with oatmeal completely blocking the door.
What?
I grunt and immediately close the front door.
What?
Keep in mind, this is the only way in and out of my house. I look to the security camera to see them taking snaps and laughing outside. The 3 of them text me asking me to come out and go to breakfast, but they make no attempt to clear the door. I expect they're just waiting for me to blow through it and make a huge mess. I turn the lights out and go back to bed so they leave. When I wake up, the tower is still there. It takes me about 20 minutes and 4 whole garbage bags to clean up what must have been over 20 pounds of oatmeal, not to mention the mess it made on my front porch and on the carpet in my entryway. I had planned on taking my girlfriend to an NHL game tomorrow, which would have cost me at least $100 in tickets, parking, food, etc. Now I have no desire to see or talk to her. I'm absolutely livid because it brings me back to high school where my car and house used to be vandalized in similar ways, like saran wrap, Vaseline, toilet paper, etc. I feel like it was meant to be an innocent prank, but my natural urge is to go full scorched earth and just be nasty to her, which I know is not a healthy way to deal with this situation. I just want to know if I'm in the right and how do I maturely handle this situation without escalating it, while still expressing how disappointed I am in her.
I feel like this is one of those pranks that are like harmless. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's like a huge deal, but
I do kind of agree with that because there's some pranks where it's like scaring somebody
Yeah.
or like, there's other pranks of like the pie in the face or like the water balloon at them, like something that like is unavoidable that they did to the person and then called
or
it a
stealing
prank.
someone's ice cream. Do you remember that one?
No.
The guy, the boyfriend stole someone's ice cream on the street and ran home with.
Stole and ran home. This is like you put an obstacle in front of someone's way, but they don't have to go. He turned around, like it was like an obstacle, but like they didn't push him through. They didn't throw oatmeal at him. So it's definitely not the worst prank
Yeah.
that I've ever heard.
But I mean, I would be annoyed as well.
I'd be annoyed. You woke me up at 6:15 after I didn't
Yeah.
go to bed until 1 or 2 in the morning. I barely got any sleep. I walk down, I see this. I do the exact same thing. I close the door, I go back up the
100%.
bed.
No, he reacted reasonably.
Yeah.
I do think like I don't think you should go full scorched earth on your girlfriend though. Like
I don't think so.
Like I think you should just tell her like I did not appreciate that. I've had many pranks done to me through high school and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't appreciate this. I hope you never do a prank.
Right?
Again.
Does she know
Yeah.
about the high school pranks or not? That would determine my level of scorched earth. If she doesn't know, it's not her fault. If
Yeah.
she does know that you're vividly against
Yeah.
pranked and it gives you
Yeah.
a little bit of throwback, yeah.
That would change things, yeah.
So there's some relevant comments. OP on why he hates pranks. In high school, one of the many times this happened, I woke up and my house was paintballed and egged. My car was saran wrapped and covered in Vaseline. The lawn was forked and the 25-foot tree in our front yard was covered with half a dozen rolls of toilet paper.
Wow.
We had to have a patrol car on our street every night for the next week so it didn't happen again. It gave me a lot of anxiety. It made it hard to sleep, wondering every night if I wake up to find my car fucked with, or having to wonder what my parents must think of me that someone hated me enough to do something so unnecessary.
Aww.
I'm going to tell her this and explain why their little joke is so upsetting to me. Depending on how she responds, I am willing to end the relationship over this. I thought after how long we had been dating that she had the insight to stop for a second and realize that I wouldn't think that this is funny. So she didn't know. So she didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
What is my lawn was forked? What does that mean?
I'm picturing like those big pitchforks.
Pitchforks? Okay, I can see that.
Just all over the lawn.
Okay, here we go. The prank involves sticking dozens or hundreds of plastic forks in someone else's yard.
Shut up. That's... Why would anyone waste their time to do that? I would love to know.
Apparently, there is humor to be found in watching the victim remove all of the plastic picnic forks from the yard, which can get tedious depending on the number of forks.
What about the person putting them in?
Tedious for them too.
Okay.
Yep. I guess it is tedious to watch them remove it, but it'd also be tedious to watch you set it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, aren't you embarrassed to do that?
Like you're getting back the same tedious effort that you put in.
Yeah.
So you're an idiot?
You're an idiot.
Let's see. And so OP makes another comment about why he hates pranks. I'm not holding the history against her because she didn't know, but I feel like the rest of it is still a really bad look. She got up early to help prepare it, set it up, laughed, and took pictures when I opened the door, and then jumped in the car to go get breakfast with them minutes later. No apology, no text to check up how I was, no offer to help clean up, nothing. She texted later asking, "Are you still mad?" but didn't actually do anything about it. The crepes on her Snapchat story looked great, but I wasn't there, so I can only assume that they were good. I expect better than that. She's been sweet up to this moment. We rarely fight, but if this is the hill she wants to die on, I'm not going to back down. If this is how she acts about something so innocuous, do I really want to go through the really serious stuff with her? That's all very good points.
Those are great points because, like, her completely ignoring it after she knows you're upset and then her texting you be like, "Are you still mad?
Are you still mad?" The fact that, like, they just left and went to breakfast without him and left him with that mess.
Okay.
The prank is funny, but you got to be willing to clean up your own mess.
Yeah.
Like egging someone's house, paintballing someone's house, that's not pranking. That's vandalism.
Yeah.
That's not a prank. That's a vandalism. Putting the whoopee cushion on someone's chair when they sit down with a fart, that's a prank.
Yeah.
This is kind of a prank if you help clean it up.
Yeah.
Opie makes another comment, says, "This afternoon she sent me 2 texts. Babe, are you still mad? And friends told me you would think it's funny." And I was like, okay. I sent a long message explaining why I hate pranks like this. I told her I was disappointed in her for trying to pass off responsibility and doing something she should have obviously known I wouldn't like. Explained to her that I had to clean up the entire mess and told her that we would not be going to the NHL game. She hasn't replied. She might still be at work since she went in late to accommodate the breakfast they all went to, but chances are she's seen it.
I just feel like her reaction is making me
What pissed me off more is the fact that they all just left me with this mess.
Yeah.
Instead of
that's what I mean.
Yeah, instead of like, and just left me. And instead of staying around. The fact that they weren't like, "Oh, guys, he didn't like it. Now we're just gonna go breakfast for him." They should be like, "Oh, guys, he didn't like it. We should probably like clean all this up."
That's so rude.
That's the sway point for me in this.
I agree.
So there's an update that comes 2 days later. She replied after she got home from work yesterday. I told her I didn't want to see her, and she could text me whatever apology she had to say, but she came over anyways. She said the prank wasn't her idea, but agreed to let them use her house to prep for it. She claims to have questioned going through with it, but my friend, who has known me significantly longer than her, insisted I would think it was funny, so she deferred to him. I told her I would expect better from her and that I expect her to stand up for herself. She went on to say that she would never have pulled the prank or allowed it to happen if she knew my history with things. She didn't identify the major issues with the scenario on her own. Having me wake up early for a breakfast I didn't want to go to for her just to be pranked, having to clean it up by myself while they went to breakfast, and her not checking up on me at any point. I told her one mistake was understandable. I told her more than one mistake is understandable, but I pointed out along every step of the prank that there were easy things she could have done to make it right, but didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her how could she make such an obvious series of mistakes one after another with someone she claims to love. Apparently, she asked some of her girlfriends for advice on what to do, friends unrelated to the story, and they told her to give me space. She was very insistent that she was sorry and was imperfect, but would always learn from her mistakes. I am still mad at her, but we're back on being on good terms. If this wasn't the only thing she had done wrong in the relationship, I'd have been a lot more harsh and maybe broken up with her. But frankly, I think that'd be a waste in this case. If she makes another blatantly thoughtless mistake like this in the future, then she'll probably be out of luck. Her reasoning and the way things played out are not okay, but understandable. On the other side of things, the mutual friend texted me the link to the post late last night, claiming to have found it while casually scrolling through Reddit. He identified that if he knew the history, he wouldn't have done it, but not any of the other issues I listed above, which all of you commenting identified for him. I replied briefly and stopped responding because I wasn't really impressed with his non-apology. I've known the guy for years, and I don't know what part of him thought I would find a huge fucking mess amusing.
Yeah, he makes great points. Like,
He makes great points.
It was something on top of another, on top of another. Like, it wasn't just a prank. It was just
the reactions afterwards,
yeah.
right? And I can understand, like, even if you don't have that history, like, the fact that you just left the mess and walked away and didn't give a shit about him and just went to breakfast and you're like, ha ha ha, he's probably had to, clean it up himself. That's just wrong.
Yeah. It's stupid.
And it's dumb.
It's so dumb.
Dumb. All right.
Is that all?
That's it.
My 2 stories are going to also go to Patreon.
Got titles?
Extras. Okay, my 2 extra stories are going to be going on Patreon. They are titled, Am I the asshole for simply asking my boyfriend's dad to put a plate in the cabinet? Am I the asshole for telling my dad's parents that I don't want them at my graduation when they said I wasn't their real grandson?
Those are going to be good.